Good evening, Sharpies. I am Joy Stevens,
I'm Jermaine Taylor.
and welcome to another episode of Steel Sharpens Steel. I almost said so by Sunday. I was reading your, I was like, ooh, where am I? So,
That's foreshadow. I'll give you more details later.
okay, we want to hear it. We want to hear it. Also,
Yes.
shout out to number one Sharpie. Y'all, once again, Anthony was in here like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah,
I got in here 10 minutes ago.
he was sitting in the parking lot, y'all.
Right? He's like, I know they're coming. As soon as I set it up, he was like, Sharpie number one forever and ever, Anthony Turner. Good to see everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. We are waiting on our third. We're not sure if Tom is going to show or not. Y'all, say a little prayer for him. We don't really know where he is. He's not in any danger. He's probably working late, something like that. But what he has messed up is letting us be in charge of the show because I have producer powers. So we're going to see how this works. Matter of fact, since I do have producer powers, you know what time it is, right? Don't you?
Yeah, you know what time it is. Crack open that bottle of wine. Grab your favorite glass, pour a couple of fingers of scotch in it. Get that stick, light it, and blow. It's time to hang with Steel Sharpens Steel after dark.
You know what makes it super nasty?
What?
When he says, get that stick.
Stick. Light it.
And the music in the background. But I go to the most debaucherous place that my mind can sing to when I hear get that stick.
You're supposed to. That is the purpose of After Dark. What is going on with this hair today? Anyway, Anthony, yes. For those of y'all who missed us last week, I'll reread some of the stuff that she wrote, but there's a woman on most social media platforms. We found her on Facebook. Her name is Stacey Patton. If you ever wanted to read an epic takedown of an internet troll, go read Stacey Patton's page. Her whole day, if I got time today was a woman, it would be her.
Yeah.
If smoke was a woman, it would be her. And it's all that combined. She is the perfect storm of you picked the wrong one.
Yeah. And
reading her takedowns is a masterclass in eloquence, in history, in deep vocabulary, and zero fucks given, all at the same time. She's great. She's great.
Yeah, the people that even try to step to her, they're like into BDSM. You know what I'm saying? They want their butts whipped. And
right, because when you decide to comment, it can't be the first time you've seen her page.
Yeah.
You have to know, I want that smoke.
It's going to give you a spanking and you're going to actually like it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think last week when I read off her, she said, "You unseasoned chicken." Like, that stuck with me.
Because it hits us in a certain way.
Exactly. But we got a good show for you today. It might be a little bit truncated because, like I said, it's just the two of us here. But there's a few things we want to cover because the name of the show this week is "My Name is Bennett," and I ain't in it because y'all know how that goes, right? Y'all, the fuck is happening out here in these American streets? It is chaos and bedlam, and I've picked up this thread, literally on Threads, but I picked this up and I've noticed a lot of people coming to this recognition. A lot of things that they are doing at a federal level are meant to poke the bear. They're trying to incite Black people to get up and do something.
Yeah,
it's funny because the liberal left has been like, "What are we gonna do, Black people? What are we gonna do? Oh my gosh! I have no idea what we should be doing." And then what are Black women doing? And Black women are like, pack with them fans, slide to the left, boom, slide to the right.
They would tell you all the line dances. And what's interesting? They had the Women's History March, like I want to say it was this past weekend here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
It was so homogenized. I mean, spotting us was like literally finding that one raisin in the potato salad.
Mm-hmm.
That's how far we are just really checked out. I mean, the most we gave it up for Women's History Month was celebrating Roberta Flack and Angie Stone.
Yeah. Moment of
That was
silence.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Our dearly departed, and that's all
Yes.
we gave, because we just don't want to get in it right now. Now, mind you, the building that these women, these sisters are sitting on, and myself included,
Mm-hmm.
it's on fire.
It's on fire.
You know, so we looking down thinking, all right, it's getting kind of close. So pretty soon, I mean, even now, what we're doing is what we've always done. We're just not doing it on the level that they're used to. We're
Right.
doing it amongst ourselves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's business as usual. What Tish James is doing, Tish James has always been doing. It's not like she's doing it because this is the moment you have to do it.
Right.
You know? So, and again, what we do as a people will affect the masses, you know, at large. That's just the way it is.
And always
So,
has been. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just here for this quiet energy, this, you know, covering our own, watering our own grass before we look over your fence and decide to give you just a little, because you got some rough edges over there.
Right. What I'm also noticing is the unbotheredness of it all. Like, you know, they're tearing down the Black Lives Matter monument. Are they?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Because it's a monument. You know, it's a crosswalk. It's a mural. It does not push policy.
Yeah.
You cannot erase history just by erasing that one mural that's only been up for 4 years, right?
It was performative when they did it.
It was performative when they did it.
You know?
Exactly that.
We're looking for legislation for change, you know, ways of living. Things are going to affect the generations after us. Unless
they're trying to get rid of public schools. You know who goes to public schools? White people. Y'all should rally about that. Y'all should go write to congressmen. Now, there are some things that, you know, in my circles, we've been encouraged, you know, make sure you call your local so-and-so to, like, local government. Like, we're, you know, our mayor is up for re-election, so he just started his campaign. So we're mobilizing around that. There's been letters to the governor about, hey, bro, don't forget who you are. We know that you're Republican. Don't forget that Atlanta runs shit. And so Georgia is doing Georgia stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Texas is doing Texas stuff because I keep an eye on them as well.
I do too.
Yeah. And some of the states, some states that have a positive net profit as a state are doing okay. It's some states that have been net negative for generations, like Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, and a few others, where they were as a state check to check, hand to mouth.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't realize, and it goes, as Anthony said, I'm sitting here and sipping my drink, but as a lot of people don't realize, as a country, a lot of these hyper liberal edge, like East Coast, West Coast, blue states generate a lot of the revenue that turns into social welfare programs for these other states. So, you know, to hear somebody in Mississippi or Tougaloo talking about my tax dollars ain't gonna, your tax dollars don't cover your own shit.
Yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
But what's so interesting about us funneling, like I'm in California, you're in Georgia, so I'm assuming some of the revenues your state makes goes to these really poor states. The way these poor red states funnel this money, they, for the most part, look out for themselves and the superiority race first, and then it trickles down to, you know, the advantaged communities in these states. So they run these states as if they've never left Jim Crow, you know, and that's why they just won't advance, because even the people that are elected in office, mentally, their legacy, and they've never left Jim Crow.
Right. And they spend all their energy trying to make sure somebody doesn't have, that they don't realize they could spend half the energy and make sure everybody actually had. So they're so busy trying to be a have and keep down the have-nots. Because there is this connotation of Black and brown also meaning poor and impoverished.
Yeah.
You know, like I've even heard it from Black people where they be like, oh, such and such. Like I remember people saying the Cosby Show wasn't real because Black people don't live like that. And I'm like, my best friend's dad is a doctor. The fuck you saying?
Yeah.
You know, they believe that keeping poor people poor is keeping Black people poor. And there is some overlap in that Venn diagram, but that's not everybody. But you're also hitting a wide swath of middle America who voted for change and voted for difference and even voted for crazy Trump because they thought that he would, victimize other people and make them better. And he just ended up victimizing everybody. And so here we are in this mess. And, I've had conversations where even people like, well, Joy, that's going to affect your business since you do DEI. Yeah.
I've been telling people, I'll say right now, the world is actually seeing and what, white America is actually seeing, that it's not really about black and white. It's more of a class system.
It is more of a class system. And I think since our generation, since Gen X, I think I saw something that said Gen X was the first generation born with theoretical equality.
Yeah.
Like on paper, we couldn't be discriminated against out in public legally like our parents could have. And then the millennials felt it. They were the first generation to expect it. And then Gen Z born with and expected, which is why they tend to be so short-tempered when it comes to how come we don't have this? How come you don't have that?
Right.
But so since then, we've become more and more class, because you'll see middle class and upper middle class Black people with their respectability politics air about them, or saying something negative or pejorative about people who are, at the poverty line or trying to make ends meet, et cetera. So there is classism in addition to colorism, in addition to racism, in addition to white supremacy. They all overlap each other. Yeah, exactly, Anthony. It all boils down to classism. But trying to go ahead.
A master class in that when I read Isabel Wilkerson's book, because I kind of rejected that entire notion only because of ignorance. I didn't know anything about it. And then when I read the book and then saw the movie, I was like, oh my God, this has been the warfare all along. The gag was, when it comes to class, we as people of color have always been at the bottom. So they were making a racist issue when in fact it was never a racist issue.
It was a poor issue.
Exactly. But because they know how to brand poor with anything, not white, it looked like it was a racist issue.
Right.
Yeah, it was I read that book during the pandemic. And then when I saw them, I was like, wow, this is the Jedi mind trick that the world over. And they're still, and right now it's just in full view. If you can't see what's going on right now, you're not paying attention. You're just not. I mean, the FAFO stories that are going on right now, Black folks ain't saying nothing. Have you noticed that? And let me share something else with you. You remember during the Depression, when we talk about the Great Depression?
Yeah.
Do you ever hear stories about Black people in the Great Depression?
No, as a matter of fact, the story that I do know about the Great Depression is a Black man was recorded as saying, I didn't realize the country was in a depression until I saw a white man looking through my trash. Because Black people were excluded from the great American prosperity train. We weren't allowed to put our money in banks, which is why we had to have our own banks, right? Not insured by the FDIC, but also not tied to the stock market.
Not at all.
Right? We weren't allowed to do businesses in certain places. So all our businesses were insulated in our communities. So we had money because our money circulated our community. Yeah. And when they all went broke and started jumping off the windows and stuff because the stock market crashed and there went all their imaginary wealth, we were like, oh, word? Oh, damn.
I think now that mentality has just kind of legacied on to now. It's like, the world is falling apart, but guess what? I'm making me a nice old piece of salmon tonight. What you doing?
I have some salmon, I have some kale, and I've got some moonshine that I got from a friend's father. He makes it himself.
Wow.
So this is how we get around, Kentucky bourbon is going to be high because Canada, really, because I'm going to be over here with this moonshine that I got from my friend's daddy in Mississippi.
My granddad used to call it a shot dog. I'm like, shot dog? They had all kind of names for that old whiskey they make in the vat, kind of shot dog.
Mattress cash. That is how we saved Cadillac, because they were going to go under, and they got real diverse real quick and was like, "Ooh, sell it, market it to Black people," and it's marketed as high luxury inn, and Black people were like, "Oh, I could get a car," because we were not banned, but we were strongly discouraged from buying anything. And then Cadillac was like, y'all can have all of these. We say them. Matter of fact, they still cater to Black people, and it's a part of their history and their headquarters. They talk about how Black Americans saved the company when all the other car companies in America were going under, right? Because they were trying to hold on to their racist principles and not sell to Black people. And Cadillac was like, hey, look, Leroy, I got this I got this.
Come to the back.
Got the stainless steel top Cadillac beer Ritz for you. You know.
We close at 5. Meet me at 5:05 in the back.
Meet me at 5:05 out back. Cash. You know.
But a lot of these Americana name brands, we have always been the savior of them. Even Pepsi. You remember how Coke?
Yeah, we saved Coke.
They didn't want us drinking their stuff.
We had a love affair with Sprite for a little bit, and now Pepsi. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Coke was like, no, we don't want our stuff because our stuff is not made for the black man's palate. So what did Pepsi do? Pepsi saw it opening. Mm-hmm. Pepsi even put us in commercials.
There was a time where all of Coke, when Coke had black marketers, I remember they had marching bands and it was Coke is it.
Yeah.
Coke is it. And they had the whole marching band out on the field and everything. And it was real cool. This was like in the 90s though.
Yeah.
And then Coke had like they gentrified themselves. It was like, you know, Coca-Cola. Okay, fine, Coca-Cola, whatever. Yeah. When they started doing Mexican Coke, they started feeling themselves like we don't really need to cater to this Black American market. All right, Pepsi was over here like, yo.
Yeah, we got history because Pepsi, y'all got us through back in the day. But you know, Coke, they'd be on some yin and yang because here recently, you know, they were in trouble and with the Latin population, they sort of like ratted out a lot of their workers saying that they were illegals, or they called, I don't know if they were actually illegals, but they called ICE on the people that worked there.
I heard about that.
And then there was
like at the end of the day.
Yeah. Did that happen right there in Atlanta?
No, it wasn't in Atlanta. Okay. I don't know where it was, but it could have been. But I don't think our manufacturing plants are here. It's more of the showcase here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Coke, they don't ever know which side they want to be on because they go up and down. Finding out. It's very expensive.
Yes. Every race fine. Yeah, racism is expensive. And yeah, vote your pay wage. And I need a lot of people to understand what it means to be rich.
Yeah.
If somebody pays you every month, you are not rich.
No.
I don't care how much money you think you have. A lot of NBA players are still barely in the top 10%. And so when they talk about the ultra rich 1%, that's like 11 people. You're not one of them. I hope you understand that. If you go to work every day in an office and somebody forces you to adhere to a dress code, you're not rich.
You're not. You'll never get rich working for somebody else. You just won't.
Yeah. The old adage is your boss will never pay you enough to be your neighbor. Mm-mm. So yeah, you can hang all that. Oh, was it in Texas? Hey, Bob, what's happening?
Hey, Bob. What was in Texas? But with the Coke. Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
The Coke. And that makes sense that they call it ice in Texas. You know, that's dumb though, because I have seen. I remember living in Texas in like 20. It would have been 2011, 2012 when I was there, and I was walking. Bought a house in a new neighborhood. They were still building out the rest of it. When I tell you, every morning I would go for a walk, and they'd be like, "Zoop! Oh, there's another house. Zoop! 3028. Zoop! 3034. Zoop! 3038." They just putting up a house every day.
Yeah.
From grass to shingles in a day, and you deported them, you out your mind. Yeah. That's stupid.
Yeah, Texas is in a special position right now because they have always had not a love-hate relationship with immigrant workers, but pretty much a love-love relationship with them.
Yeah. The people on the ground. Yeah. That's the thing, is like a lot of people like, I didn't know they would come for, I'm gonna say something real racist. I didn't know they would come for Esmeralda or whatever. I didn't know they was coming for Pablo. Who the fuck you thought they was coming for?
Yeah.
Right? They always think it's some mythical drug running Pablo Escobar type dude that's like gonna be randomly walking down the street.
Yeah.
But no, they rounding up everybody at Home Depot, and now you can't get your project finished because all your cheap labor is gone.
Yeah. Texas was sounding the alarm a long time ago before he even started like deporting ICE after these people. They were. Because they have always been integrated in our economy in Texas.
Always.
Since the beginning of my entire life.
When my grandmother died, my father rented out my grandmother's house, like rent to own, to a group of Mexican women. And only one of them spoke English. And she's the one we work with. It was all kind of under the table. There was an agreement. I didn't really know a lot about it. I just know that my grandmother died in like 2008.
Yeah.
So in 2018, matter of fact, I think it was 2020, a while ago.
Right.
They drove to my sister's house because they remember when my father lived. My father been dead, and they were still paying. And they were like, "We have this paper that says this payments are done." And I realized this is how my dad had been subsidizing some things, but they had all the bank statements, they had always paid on time. They had paid the taxes on the house for the last 8 years. And they were like, we think it's finished. And I ran through it. Yeah, let's go to the lawyer. And I sold them that house for $100 to end up that day.
I believe you.
Not nary one of them. I don't think not nary one of them was legal. But are they contributing to the economy of the United States? Absolutely, 100%. Yes. And they paid on time, which is more than I can say for some of these gentrifying European Caucasian rugrats running around here, tearing up a house on Airbnb and then running out at the last minute. But then they want to kick Black people out of Airbnb. It's a mess. It's a mess.
They have saved a factory town in Texas. Mm-hmm. Those I forget, Pilgrim's Farm right there in Mount Pleasant. Mm-hmm. All those dairy plants that used to be in Hopkins County, all the Ocean Spray, all those type of factory towns, they have pretty much saved them. Why? Because they were able to pay them well below the market.
Yep. And
have productivity and make profits all over the place and keep those towns going. That's pretty much the story of the immigrant, the Mexican immigrant in Texas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, they look around and find out and say, Bob's got a point here. This is also like the tariffs on wood from Canada, the tariffs on all products from Canada. Yeah. America only makes, I think, like you said, 70% of the wood we import comes from Canada. And that's about 40% of the wood we use, or maybe 60% of the wood that we use. We don't make enough or cut down enough of our own trees. Yeah. And we only make like 16% of the aluminum that we need in any given year. The other 84% is imported. And now all of that's going to be higher. So people think, oh, I'm buying American. That's great that you think that this is made in America, but it's only assembled in America. Most of the stuff, it's the raw materials, are coming from somewhere else. And so the housing market is going to be ridiculous because you won't be able to get that house up in a day because Pablo and him is gone, and you won't be able to buy or afford the raw materials. One of the reasons I'm leaving where I live right now is because they have messed around too long. We knew we had this major project to do, and the cost of doing it is about to double, if not triple. And I'm not going to be here when it happens.
But he has stabilized the entire economy all throughout the world in every industry. Mm-hmm. Because of the boycotts against Target, nobody's shopping there. But because of the tariffs, the prices at Targets are getting ready to go up.
Yep.
So they're like in a no-win situation right now. Mm-hmm. So pretty soon, all these little city Targets you see all over town,
well, they're about to close down.
Rollback hours, or they're about to close.
Because there's a Target every block, and they're probably going to end up closing any Target that doesn't have a CVS in it. They're probably going to close. Mm-hmm.
To start. Yeah.
Because don't think it can't happen. Because remember when we all used to go to Kmart? Where is Kmart?
Done.
Mm-hmm.
No, people.
That wasn't even on purpose. We just stopped going.
Yeah. What was it? I don't know what turned us off against Kmart. I just looked up and they just weren't around anymore because they just stopped shopping there. I remember getting all my school clothes there when I was like little. Oh my God, that baggie would be so damn full. All the stuff Granny would get for us. We just run wild. Everything. But Samuel, you bring up a good point. Like, did we see Elon's? Yeah, let's talk about the musky mess that happened this week, because your boy was on one. Yeah, he was.
It was ridiculous. Would you like to start it off? Like what you
Well, he has cause to be, because he's seeing a lot of his portfolio just die in just like in minutes. People are canceling contracts with Tesla. Starlink is being canceled in different countries. Mm-hmm. So his money is just, he's still rich, mind you, and still the richest man in the world. But, when you see a sizable portion of your wealth just like vanish like that, you do want to ask the president to put your stuff on the White House lawn so you can have this national commercial.
Right. Next thing you know, they out here. Where is that picture?
Ain't that a mess?
I'm mad that it's the same color as my car. I don't want nobody mistaking me for Trump to dump.
You could just see how he was like, "Yo, dude, I need some visibility. I need you to help me out here."
Right, but if he's so great and everybody loves him, and y'all have a mandate, and his cars are so good, why are they not selling? Why? And I really think they underestimated the vitriol from other companies. Yeah. Yes, carry your ass back to work. And stop screwing with Americans and American politics and put your ass back in a building with some technology where you belong. Why don't you fix them spaceships that keep blowing up, son? Why are you in here messing with Department of Government Efficiency, which isn't really doing anything?
The resentment is, and this, because I just sort of pieced it together, because I like to break it down to words I can explain to people in my family, because they often don't get it when they're watching things on television. I'm like, the issue is you have this man from this other country who came to this United States and was able to seize upon the American dream and made all of this money. But yet he's taken away the dreams and hopes of people who are just hoping to just have just a decent life by stripping these jobs. The audacity of that, that just, it angers you, because it's like, wait a minute, you have all the money you need, and I'm barely trying to make it on this good federal job, because mind you, those are still good jobs in our, to get you a good federal job so you can live with a pension. I mean, you can retire with a pension. It's what we used to say back in the day.
Right.
And he's stripping that from these good people who just made decent lives. They can help send their kids to school, have a nice house and a Camry. I didn't say a Lexus. I said
that's all you want, right?
And he's stripping that from people, but yet he had the opportunity to come and make all of this wealth, because he couldn't have done it anywhere else.
No.
And that is the issue, and that's the rub, and that's beginning to catch up with them a lot. He probably didn't even foresee this, because he's just that narrow-minded as to how everyday people live.
You're exactly right. People like to think that he's this great visionary, et cetera. He didn't invent electric cars. He bought Tesla.
He did.
Right. And then he made some really, honestly, stupid deals up front to try to get them to corner the market. The reason I drive a Tesla is because I have a 2013 model. In the first 2 or 3 years that he put Teslas out in the United States, he was trying to build that infrastructure of superchargers. And he said, if you buy a Tesla, you'll be able to use any of the superchargers anywhere in the country for free for the life of the car.
Yeah.
My car is still living. I don't pay a dime to charge that car, which is why I'm still driving. I'm gonna put me a bumper sticker on it that says I'm not with him, but the car is free. And there's a lot of people that they were really well made because they were over-engineered at the time. Some of its descendants are a little bit flaky, some of the stuff they took out, but my car is over-engineered, super heavy. Every time I hit a pothole, that's another tire. But
wow.
Yeah, it's bad. So I'll be looking at Andre like, Dre, what's up with these potholes, man? It's nice to have the mayor as a friend, because I can DM him like, bruh.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like he was a visionary and said, I think electric cars are the future. He saw an opportunity in a company that already existed. As a matter of fact, there's another company that the creators of Tesla, when he bought them out, they are now doing another electric car, and they're trying to bring it back into the United States. I'm going to see if I can find that new electric truck.
While you're doing that, he's just so cash poor right now, and he's just trying to make all these little side deals with, the president that are, not going through because people are catching up to them. He tried to have $400 million funneled to him through this.
Right.
program.
What is that about?
I know. It's only because he's losing money, like hardcore. But, he's getting access to all these contracts, I guess, to just offset the amount of money that he's actually losing. And I just don't understand, dude, put the pieces together, figure it out, understand that this is causing that, and quit doing this.
You would think, right?
So
I'm trying to find it. It's actually a cute little truck.
Mm-hmm.
Why can I not find it? I can't remember the name of it. And then I put in like electric truck, and I got all these ugly, geometrically offensive Tesla trucks out here. They're doing a hell of a job with trying to flood the internet with just pictures of that one truck. Let me see if I can find. So
this isn't a truck that he owns. This is a new.
This is let's see, it's from the original makers of Tesla. Maybe that'll help. Man, fuck you, Elon. Like, he is over, everything is over it. This also speaks to the fact, because I'm in Bing, I'm not even in Google. But the fact that I didn't type his name in at all, and I said new electric truck from the original makers of Tesla, and all I got was Tesla trucks. That ugly, whatever nonsense.
Well, I think it's the default. I feel
think
like
it is.
some kind of way they've manipulated it.
Exactly. I'm gonna quit looking for it because I'm running out of time. Is it the Rivian? Is that what it's called? Thank you. I'm gonna look for the Rivian. Maybe that's what it's called.
Marie. Is this somebody that we know that's going by Marie, or this is actually Marie?
It's somebody we know that's going by Marie. That's her stage name. Okay. We're gonna let her
because I'm still getting used to the Abbeys on YouTube. But you know, the cracks are already beginning to, I mean, they're very visible and they're like showing. The cabinet members, they're all at his neck right now because they're like, yo, dude, everything that you're doing is impeding what I'm trying to do within this freaking cabinet department.
Right. And they are stuck because of him. This is it. It's the Rivian. And she was right. Thank you for that. Let me see if I can make that picture bigger.
It looks like a futuristic Tacoma. I mean,
yes, a futuristic Tacoma. And it's about the, now, if you look at it closely, it looks like a big truck, but look at the wheel span. It is about the size of a two-door coupe. Like it's a small truck.
Oh, wow.
And so it's not hard to park. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It's
no
it's really
Texas
cute.
appeal at all.
Right. It's really cute. Remember when the Mini Cooper came out and people were like, what's up with this little ass car?
Yeah.
And then they got sexy after, what was it? The Italian Job came out and everybody wanted a Mini Cooper. I feel like this Rivian is going to be the same way because it gives you the free storage space of a flatbed truck on the back. So the problem with a lot of smaller cars is you can't put nothing in them. You can throw stuff back here and just throw the tailgate up and have a great time. It is kind of sporty. It looks like it might have a little bit of pull to it. The tires are already better than the Tesla truck because the Tesla truck can't do anything in snow because it's too heavy. The same physics that stops it from hydroplaning also stops it from moving on the snow. And so it gets stuck all the time. So this truck looks like a great alternative to
so there's utility aspect to this truck. It's not just a show piece.
Yeah. And Elon is trying to block them from bringing that truck into the United States because he's a jerk, you know. But so Robin is now partnering with Volkswagen to share the same electrical system. And if they get all that together, I will ride that. If I can get another affordable car where I can total mine. Mm-hmm. And just get the money from the insurance and buy a new electric car, and they got enough system in place, I will drive that motherfucker into Lake Lanier. I will.
If I could just get over the charging anxiety, I would be more inclined to buy one. I just have such anxiety when it comes to having to charge the car and not being in a place to do so. Mm-hmm. You know, that would just make me crazy. I would always be in my head about, oh my God, am I going to have enough juice to get to where I'm going if I'm going to see a station?
Yeah, it's not like just being able to pass a gas station every block. You know, you got to look for chargers. Living in Atlanta makes it real easy, especially there's a lot of Tesla chargers
California
here.
Too. So.
Yeah, and there's other EV chargers like every block, every grocery store, every Kroger has one in front. Most of the malls and stuff have chargers out front and everything. Mm-hmm. So you can always find it. And then the place where I live now, there's like 4 chargers on the roof of our parking deck. Okay. So if I wanted to just plug it in overnight, I could do that here. And then like even there's chargers close to me here, like a block away from where I live. Okay. And where I'm moving to next week, there's chargers maybe a half a mile away. So if I can make it home, I can make it to a charger.
Yeah, they're all over LA. So living in, California, that's just no problem. I just wonder like about other cities or like, parts of the country where you just won't find because they have a resistance to the whole electric vehicle, apparatus to begin with. But Chan makes a really good point. He says Elon made 2 good decisions at the right time. Signed with PayPal, got fired by Peter Thiel, then parlayed that into Tesla. SpaceX, Starlink is legit, so people think all that is genius. I wasn't aware that this was like that those things happened simultaneously. I thought one happened, then later on he fell into the Starlink. Because I didn't start hearing about Starlink until around the whole election thing. That thing was pretty much under the radar to me. I'd never heard about Starlink until that. SpaceX,
it was not on my radar either.
Yeah. But do a lot of people use Starlink? See, I thought that was something fairly new and innovative. I didn't even know that was like a system that a lot of people use in terms of connectivity until now. Is that the case?
I am not sure. Like, I know Starlink is there's an AI component of it, and it's a data processing, the big data processing unit that he's building, I think is in Memphis or going to be in Memphis, but I don't know. So this is Shay, by the way. Shay is like, it was originally for military use.
Oh, okay.
But clearly they must have got a hold of him and was like, this shit don't work, and left it alone. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. People. I will tell you, there's a group. So just as a funny thing, there's a group of electronic car owners, and of course, it's a Black group on Facebook, and it's called a Static Club. And the Static Club is for people who have played around with their car and took it all the way down to 0%, and then try to get home, or, it's on 1% and you're around the corner from the house and you're trying to make it to the house. And you, just like when you know you're out of gas, but you're like, I know my car. I think people that have driven their electronic cars long enough to be like, I know my car. I know it says 1%, but I know I can get home. And then they'll take pictures of it saying like 0%. 0.5 miles to dead, and they got it to a charger. So it's a Static Club, pictures of your most daring
you would have to put me in the hospital because I would just have a nervous breakdown. There's no way I would survive mentally. But Starlink, what he's trying to do with Starlink, that's why he's trying to pretty much disband the FAA. Yeah, because he wants to have.
He wants to privatize it.
Exactly.
But bro, you dropping spaceships. Ain't nobody trying to.
You know what I'm saying? They blowing up left and right. So why would anybody want to take a chance on the Starlink, being over our FAA when people pretty much have no confidence in our aviation right now? I got to fly in a couple of weeks, and I'm like, ooh, Jesus, how many times can I pray to you? Because I don't know what I'm gonna have to do.
And that's the other thing is that he's one person. Yeah. And he's one person that nobody wants to work for. Yeah. Nobody wants to work with the exception of Trump. And I don't even think Trump wants to work with him. It's just all a gimmick and a plan to sell more steaks and gold tennis shoes for Trump. That's all he does is sell things. Yeah. But if he were in control of any organization, he would lose all the people that are smart enough and brave enough to tell him the truth, because he doesn't like people telling him the truth. He wants people to say yes to him. He would alienate any woman within a 200-foot radius of him just by being who he is. And he would gut the workforce of any organization like he's doing right now, just firing people because he don't like them. Yeah. And then having to hire him back because he realizes he made a mistake. And then people are like, you know what? I don't even want to come back. If we privatized anything under him, it would fail. Yeah. Because he's a terrible leader. End of story.
And his actions are slowly becoming his undoing. Mm-hmm. People are realizing, although it may have been wasteful to have every, particular employee federally, because I will say there needs to be some fat that needs to be trimmed. But the way that he is gutting, the federal workforce seems very impersonal. Mm-hmm. And it seems as though it's very novice-like. It's like, wait a minute, dude. You're firing these people to have to bring them back again, but yet you don't want to admit to it being a mistake.
And how is that efficient? Exactly. You are the Department of Efficiency.
Yeah. And then people are saying at the same time, you're saying that you're trimming all this fat, but yet all the huge dollar contracts are going in your pockets.
Right. He makes $8 million a day off the United States taxpayers. Right. And one of the other reasons, I know you've seen this clip. Matter of fact, I've sucked so far trying to find stuff, but I know you've seen this clip. Let me see if I can find it this way. I'm literally typing into the search engine, stupid guy arguing about federal taxes.
Sometimes I type the most random descriptions and I can pull it up just like that.
It's funny. That didn't quite get it. There's a young guy. I saw it on TikTok over and over again, but I can't remember the guy's name. Maybe it was Sid something. Sid. Maybe that'll help. Once again, I failed. This is why we need Tom to come in here and set stuff up for earlier in the day, because I know I sent it to him at some point and he would be able to pull it. But there's a guy who is like just a smart guy, and he allows people from the audience to come and debate him about something. And there's this one kid who is debating him. He's saying that DEI is bad because the only reason DEI ever caught on was because you get tax credits for hiring people.
Oh, I saw that. Yes, I saw it. And the guy literally had to just shut him down.
Right. And he was like, what day is it? And the guy's like, Tuesday. Okay, so we can agree on something. Yeah. But he was convinced that that government businesses were not run by government money. Like he is so this stupid kid, and he couldn't have been more than like 25 or maybe 30, but probably 25. And he thought the worst is somebody that thinks they're smart and they're really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was like, oh, no, they absolutely do. They absolutely do. And he was like, yeah, private and public sector both get tax cuts for paying for hiring people of color. And he's like, no, they don't. And he goes, first of all, government-run entities don't pay taxes.
They don't at all.
They don't. And so this dude, how can you argue with somebody that doesn't understand basic things? And he's sitting there like, he goes, so what is it then? And the smart guy tells the idiot, DEI was making sure that every company, regardless of, where background or whatever, they must. And before he could finish, the guy's like, oh, I love buzzwords. Must is a buzzword. How the fuck is must a buzzword? What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, the idiot was conflating another reentry program with that.
I knew it was Sam Cedar.
Yeah, it was where different companies would get somewhat of an incentive to hire people that are re-entering into like the workforce, people that have been to jail, people that have been locked up, people that are felons. Those particular organizations or corporations would get some sort of an incentive. I don't know if it's from the government or somewhere for, taking a chance on those people. But it seemed as though because it mentioned criminals, he was automatically painting them with a black brush. And I think he sort of conflated it that way. Because I was like, where could this guy be getting this information from? And I read that and I was like, I think he's gotten this program confused with that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what? There's so many clips of him arguing with like stupid MAGA people. I'm not even gonna try to pull up. I didn't realize that it was that big.
I didn't know we were still arguing with MAGA people. Is that something we're still doing?
Oh, this is thank you. This is a little bit late, but yeah, Chan is right. Elon does not argue with women. He impregnates them. Now we won't talk about how that happens because it's gross. But
just to look at him.
Ill. But the reason I brought that up and took off on that rabbit hole for a second is he's arguing with someone that knows in their heart of hearts that they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They can't tell you where they heard it. They know they didn't read it anywhere because it's not written anywhere. They've just been talking in small circles to other people, probably their same age over there, ice mocha lattes, whatever. And I'm not saying that to dog, people who go to Starbucks. I'm saying he seemed like the type that would have a very pretentious drink. Yeah. Right. And then want to say, I know something you don't, with that little purse mouth smile. Yeah. He was doing all of that. And the thing is, you can look at him and tell that he was not Caucasian.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, do you realize you are people of color? Like, it's you. You look in the mirror. The call is coming from inside the house, bro. But
I wanted to just shout in my freaking phone, like, dude, white proximity is a myth, dude. It will never, ever, ever, ever happen.
It will never happen. There is no such thing as
it in your face, but it's a myth. It's just enough to get you excited to like do their bidding. But once they got your vote, I never knew you. Depart from me. Ain't that what the Bible say?
Talk to the Venezuelans. Remember how they all came out for Trump and then came back on TV talking about, I don't want to get political, but he betrayed us. You are political because you're talking about how you voted.
Sam, you keep it real, baby. I don't know if I can even picture that, but it sounds really
he does
gross.
look like, he does look like a ball of snot, a sentient ball of snot. Yes.
So I hear today that this is Trump we're talking about. Mm-hmm. He's asking the Supreme Court to end birthright citizenship. He's asking the Supreme Court to violate their constitutional oath and end birthright citizenship. 150 years of birthright. He's asking them to end birthright citizenship. And
that would affect his own home because his child is born of a foreign mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, so kick Barron out when you kick everybody else out.
Their whole reason for it, because this is not the first time this has actually happened, because back in the day when Republicans used to bring it up, they would always quote this one particular line in the 14th Amendment that says something to the fact that is subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, meaning the person that's actually born, their parents have to be subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. So if their parents are from somewhere else, they shouldn't be able to claim that this particular country is theirs.
Right.
And that hasn't been able to hold up in court over the years either. But it's interesting how they want to dissect the minutia of the 14th Amendment. But with regards to the Second Amendment with guns, when it was clearly written, we were talking about muskets and bayonets and what have you.
And they were talking about the right to bear arms against a threat. Like you have the right to like take up arms if your city is being attacked.
Yes.
Not just to have guns in the house because you don't like your neighbor.
Right.
Yeah.
So
they misunderstood that the whole
selective.
time.
Yeah, and I'm pretty much sure with the way that of course Alito and Thomas will probably like stand behind them, but I just can't see them, all 7 left just deciding to just go ahead and just renege on the, the thing they swore to and just give him this win, because I just
there's some things that are, this is going to ruin your legacy. If you do this, some things you can get away with, mandate, blah, 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 or it's ambiguous, or, the Constitution didn't say anything about it in particular. The Constitution is very clear about this.
Always has been.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of interesting that he keeps going to bat for this, because this is like the second time in the less than 60 days he's been in office that he's trying to do this.
Yeah, so because he can automatically deport a lot of people. Now, here's the other thing. And I'm going to sound crazy for a second. What they are doing will, if they are allowed to run crazy like they're running, eventually it will lead to a lower unemployment rate. Now, that sounds interesting. And if you don't dig deep, it sounds like, well, maybe we should let this play out. But unemployment rate just is a measure of who has a job and who doesn't.
Right.
If they deport millions of people, some of whom are not doing, a hard labor job, they're doing maybe entry-level tech jobs or middle management jobs, or whatever. But if you deport millions of people, it opens up millions of jobs. Now, are the people who are left qualified for those jobs? Maybe, maybe not. But they will be asked to fill them, because they're also probably going to make it hard for you to offshore a lot of stuff. They want people to be working here. And you're going to end up with, ironically, unqualified people in a lot of positions. So they have a job, they can't hold it because they probably get fired because they didn't have that skill set. And you're going to have this rotation of people trying to figure it out. And you're going to end up reverting to people who have higher skill sets being forced into lower skill set jobs.
Right.
That's what's available to them.
And they think that's the plan with us, because
they think it's going to be us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they got another thing coming.
Absolutely, because companies are still capitalist in nature.
Yeah.
I mean, they look at me and all of my skill sets and say, we need her. She's got an engineering degree. She's done this. She knows that. She's worked in manufacturing. She's been a leader. She's taught leadership, blah, blah, blah. And they look at, they look at Susie Q, the local meth addict, who, used to be able to do some stuff, but she's been strung out on that stuff for the last 6 years and blah, blah, blah. Who are they giving the leadership job to? Because ultimately they want their company to succeed. And it can't succeed on caucasity alone. Yeah.
And that's why I was always just very suspect of a lot of these private corporations acquiescing to, this whole DEI rollback. I was like, wait a minute, they know where their talent is. Mm-hmm. They know who their customer is. They know who understands their customer. Mm-hmm. So you was like, why would you shoot your own profits in the foot by doing so? But I guess so goes the, government, so goes the, private work to be in lockstep with them. I don't know if that's always been the trend. But it seems like this time it was.
But you know what? What you're talking about is great. The whole Teslas on the lawn of the White House is a great example of that, because the people that voted for Trump can't afford them damn cars.
Yeah,
they can, unless Tesla drops down to being $30,000, they cannot afford a Tesla. And so you can say what you want about the stock getting a boost after Trump's little stunt. They're still not going to be able to move those units, because the people that can afford them are educated liberals who probably bought them a while back, like I did, thinking they were helping the environment by not having a fossil fuel car. And now they're like, you know what, let me get this Enviro Spark or whatever,
Shan, you're totally right, because this is, they were in the making ever since the days of Rush Limbaugh, when they started, and because we didn't really call it
all of those right-leaning podcasts. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how we got here.
Just talk radio. Rush Limbaugh actually, and probably even before that, you know, they set the wheels in motion for people to get their news from anything other than, you know, local legacy media. They started
like you can take it back to who was the other guy? Howard Stern. Right, and the shock jock era.
Yeah.
People saying anything, and then it went from news and interesting discussions to what can I say to get people to tune in,
right?
Because I'm talking crazy. That turned into politically crazy, and then you have this, and then it sells because people love to hear that somebody else is doing worse than them.
Right.
And there's not been a study of this because they don't want the truth. But have you noticed how certain demographics are only concerned with winning for themselves, and other demographics are more concerned with the whole community coming up? Yeah, there seems to be a divide along the Caucasus Mountains with that,
Yeah, that dog eat dog mentality that the Republicans have always maintained has served them. It just has. Oftentimes when you want to win, you got to get some dog in you. Living in Hollywood, I learned that well beyond the days that I should have learned it, because I was still trying to play nice and make everybody like me. But when I realized that you just got to sometimes play a little nasty, just don't be a nasty person, but you got to look out for the star player, the name at the very top of the call sheet. You just have to, because there's too many people that want it behind you that are willing to do it.
That are willing to do anything, whatever. You're right. And so I think that takes us back to where we are. I'm not checking for anybody that's not checking for me. Yeah. I'm spending my money where I think it makes sense.
As long as he did, people were willing to sleep with the man, as gross as he was, but there was something in it for them.
You're right. You are right. Wow. True. That took a turn.
It did. I didn't mean to go there, y'all.
It's all good. But, a couple other things I wanted to talk about. Like, we talked about Elon Musk and the Tesla thing and him being crazy and him being somebody said, we see him on the verge of tears. Yeah, he is starting to recognize this. What we started off talking about is he forward thinking? I don't believe that he is. And I believe that it shocked him to discover that he was not universally liked. It shocked him to discover that other countries give zero fucks about him and his little toys, which takes me to my next group. Canada gives zero fucks. Y'all, I have never rooted against my own country like this in my life, but Canada is giving us the business, and I'm like, yes, smack us down. Tell us what for. Make it hurt, daddy. All of it.
Well, this is Canada's first time in a long time, being able to show their might and their resistance, because they've just pretty much lived with the stigma of being just nice people and pushovers. And now they get to flex, but flex with a purpose.
Right. And when you talk about unified, they are flexing on a national scale. Yeah. taking products out the stores. They ain't had nothing to do with nothing. Getting rid of all that Kentucky bourbon. Like, I bet you we won't drink this shit, eh? Like, they are serious. Yeah.
I feel like it's a coordinated campaign, because I've seen so many videos as if they're coming out with these videos just to show the world, America specifically, just how serious they are about, we ain't playing with y'all. We will turn the lights out. Literally, we will turn your lights out.
Literally. And I think that's another thing that Americans, we're so caught up, we being because not me, but Americans are so caught up in this idea of American exceptionalism that we really think everybody needs us. Nobody needs us. No. We really think that we're independent, and we're not. We depend on a lot of other things, like the Northeast Corridor depends on Canada for electricity. Yep. Because it's closer. And Canada has a lot of oil. A lot of our fossil fuel and natural gas comes from, that's the reason they keep trying to go through the Dakotas with the pipelines, is because the gas is up.
Really, what's going on in the ATL, girl?
Man, that's another thing I'm not going to miss when I leave here. I live on the street with the fire department.
Oh, okay.
And so it's great if my house is on fire because they're right there. But every time they got to go somewhere, it's only one way that they can go. So they come through here. But what was I saying? Yeah, Canada doesn't need us as much as we need them. Yeah. And a lot of other countries are saying, You know about, wait a minute. They say, wait, Trump coming to get, as much as I've said tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if I don't get a knock on my door, you know?
But all of our relationships have been symbiotic. Mm-hmm. But, you know, the way that, you know, the good old American way, everybody depends on us because, you know, we're so rich and we got this and we're so.
That hasn't been true. That hasn't been true since the first Bush administration.
Is that like indoctrinated when people are taking their citizenship test? Do they like make them believe that?
No, that is something that Americans start misbelieving when they're in elementary school or whatever. Because the funny thing is, most Americans that are born here cannot pass the citizenship test. They don't understand that there's 3 branches of government. They can't name more than 2 presidents, you know, and they've been alive for more than 2 presidents. They can't name nobody beyond like Bush, right?
But Joy, we're victims of that being from Texas. You know how much we were always told everything is big in Texas. You can't get much bigger than Texas.
Right. And we have Texas history. I remember learning that Texas has a right to divide itself into 5 states at any given moment, including right now.
Texas with that mentality. And baby, when I tell you I was smacked down because they give you that. I mean, it's pretty much part of the lifeline of being a student, especially in 7th grade, when you have Texas history.
Yes. That's when it happened. Mm-hmm.
Wow. But it's all, you know, just, I guess it's just a part of the marketing, the branding, because it does serve us, you know, it gives us confidence. But child, outside of those Texas borders, please, you back.
Don't nobody care about, And, you know, I've heard people say things, it helps you understand how small their worldview is. Yeah, turn them off.
Turn them off.
But I remember my mother asking me about a break dancer. Like, I think we were watching like Breaking, and she asked me about like Boogaloo Shrimp or whatever. And I was like, he's the greatest break dancer I said, he's the greatest break dancer in Texas or something like that. And she goes, oh, he's from Texas? And I remember when she said that, I was like, I don't know if he's from Texas or not, but my world was Texas.
Yeah.
So when I said he's the greatest in Texas, that meant the world.
Yeah.
The same way we have the World Series, but it's only American baseball teams, right? We think that people outside the United States care about the Super Bowl. Don't nobody give a damn about. I was in Africa and they were like, ain't nobody watching that bullshit. You couldn't find it on TV outside the country, you know?
Yeah. One last thing I want to like bring up. So I guess Schumer is going to go ahead and signal his support for this continuous resolution. So
I really hope he doesn't.
Well, right before we got on with the show, it said that he was going to actually vote to actually, you know, pass it. And one of the reasons, I didn't get a chance to finish reading the article, but one of the reasons he's best specified for he was voting yes is because he feels that they can do even more damage with the federal government with it being shut down as opposed to with it being open. So if that is true and that holds true, I can get behind it. But I didn't dig deep enough into the article to find out his other reasons for voting for it. I mean, in no form or fashion is a government shutdown ever good for the country. But if they can use this as leverage to make even more cuts to the federal government, I kind of understand what he's talking about.
Yeah, so, it could be one of those things where if the government shuts down, the people who are in places to stop them from coming in the offices or deny a particular action, you know, keep Elon's people out of the building, they might not be there. So.
Right. So if that's the case, I get it. These permanent tax cuts for the wealthy, I remember Tom saying last week that they can always be reversed, you know, upon another, you know, administration or maybe even another, you know, legislation specifically when we get, you know, the majority in the House.
And it was something that, where is it? That Chan said earlier, like the only thing that gives him hope is that many of the top podcasts right now are left-leaning as we go through all these people regretting their decisions, waking up, you know, in December, realizing what they helped bring about, you know, and it's maybe one of the grassroots type of initiatives that may actually work. That and, you know, subverting things in your own way on your local levels, but people recognizing that they are in trouble is one of the reasons that we took a step back. Y'all need to feel this and recognize that you are in deep trouble, you know, and if they don't come out for these midterm elections, if they don't come out and vote at potentially what might be the last chance we have to vote, if they don't stop the triple threat control that the Republican Party has, where they can do stuff without even talking to the Democrats, then we all gonna go down,
And to your point, Shan, they're actively even recruiting even more voices online, people with a huge following, to join this whole left-leaning podcast, effort to get the word out against what's going on with the current administration. So look to hear from even more people, and not just politically, but people who have a following in all, sorts of circles, fashion, food, anybody that can help get the word out and who has an audience and people that will listen to, because there's not going to be one person that isn't going to feel the effects of what's going on. You can't ever say, at least within the next 4 years, I don't do politics.
Right.
Because there's nothing you can do.
Right. Did you buy eggs? Then you do politics. Yeah.
So, no, we're playing catch up, and I hate that we have to, because it seems like that's something we would have been on a long time ago.
We've been on it. We have been on it, and not just us, but a lot of other liberal or Democrat entities have been saying this. Like, if you go back and listen to Kamala Harris's, matter of fact, Tim Walz was just out here the other day saying none of this would be happening if we had won the election, and because he was tired of people saying, "What are you gonna do about it?" He's like, none of this would be happening if we had won. Y'all should have, called your friend and told them to get off their ass and vote, because too many people stayed home. And now they're regretting that, especially people who thought that Biden and Kamala's position on the genocide in Gaza was not strong enough. And now they didn't vote because they thought that they would teach them a lesson about them waffling on what they were going to do. And now they've got Trump trying to turn your whole homeland into a resort and just put you elsewhere. They're not even saying where.
They're crickets right now. They haven't said a word since the election. Nothing. All that smoke they had for Kamala at her rally, showing up, disrupting her. She even had to check them a few times and it went viral. Nothing now. So.
Because what can they say?
Yeah. My only thing about all this is that people never learn, because it's all about winning. Not doing what they actually have all this. Yep.
Thank you. That's where I was headed with my comment earlier. They're so concerned about winning that they don't realize that winning is not in their best interest. Yeah, you stuck it to me. You showed me by not voting or whatever. You showed me by voting for Trump, and now he's in, and I should feel bad. But I don't. I'm still proud of who I am. I'm still happy in my skin. I still got most of the money I had before. Lost a little bit of it on the stock market, but I'm chilling. And I'm gonna be chilling. Your hissy fit has no effect on me. And if I was living check to check before, I'm living check to check now. It didn't affect me the way you thought it would, but your farm is fucked.
Hell yeah. And speaking of farms, I want to say, this was one thing I wanted to bring up. I meant to bring this in pre-production. I don't know what their issue is with the farmers, but they're just about to put them out of business altogether. Not only are these subsidized farmers are losing all their contracts with the USAID, but these local farmers that get kicks back when they sell to food banks and they sell to schools, that program was wiped out too. So it's like their whole lifeline. What can they give right now? In fact, what's the purpose of even being a farmer right now in this current administration?
The wild thing is, because of the advent of big box stores and conspicuous consumption by the United States, we ended up. Hang on 1 second. My cousin's daughter is lost in Atlanta somewhere. So talk amongst yourselves. Here, I'll give you another comment to talk to Samuel about.
Sam says, I don't regret my vote for Kamala because I knew she was the better choice, but thoughts and tariffs though. And and I tell people all the time, Sam, I'm like, I don't understand a world where let me give you $25,000 to buy your first home would not speak volumes to anything that Trump was actually saying. But it's more and more clear that the uncomfortableness of having a Black Asian lady in the White House was the thought that prevailed and what got us here. She could have pretty much promised us freaking STEMI checks on the first day, and that probably wouldn't have been enough because of who she is. That's what this country did. It's a little bit going to do. Joining like a painting right now. And she put herself on mute. So a lot of people don't, but I think the buyer's remorse from those the people that actually didn't vote for her, that's what we're feeling right now. Because people that voted for Kamala, I stand behind it. And I don't know anybody who regrets their voting for Kamala. It's just they regret that they just couldn't convince enough people to join them along in the vote. That's where we are. So, what else you guys got in the chat? I'm just talking, and this girl has taken a whole sidebar here. Now, mind you, I can filibuster. I don't have any other freaking comments coming up because Joy's controlling the panel, and I don't have anything else to respond to. Let's see here. Did anybody catch that beautiful clip? There she goes.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I left you filibustering like that. So
I've actually mentioned that I can filibuster, but I have enough. I thought the comments would have automatically came up, but you control those too. I was like, damn, I can't even riff on another comment.
Oh, nothing else came in after this other than I agree. Okay, I agree. So yeah, they're right there with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were trying. So what happened was I have like one cousin on my father's side, and he lives in Houston. His daughter came to Atlanta and got ghosted by whoever she came to see. Now, instead of just going back to Houston, she thought, well, my plane ticket doesn't go back until the 18th. So she thought she had to find somewhere to stay. So she got on a bus and found her way downtown. People still won't call her back. They know where to be found. And now she can't get back to the airport, which is dumb because whatever bus you took to get here, take that bus back to the airport.
Yeah,
right. She spent all her extra money getting a hotel last night. Girl, you should have stayed in the airport and just went home.
She sounds very under 22, 23.
She's like 21.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have a niece that actually is in Atlanta right now too, but for now her situation is good.
I mean, she's like 2 miles from where I live right now, which is why my cousin called me. Like when he first called me, her phone was dead, and he's like, I don't know where she is. Like, you don't know how's your phone dead? You can charge your phone pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, you better refurbish your guest bedroom because she about to come over there.
No, she going back to the airport because that's where I'm about to take her. There will be no can I stay on your couch because I know how that shit gets started. And what we're not going to do is have somebody living on my couch till the 18th. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's a good amount of time.
Well, yeah, till tomorrow is a good amount of time. Say what?
That's just only next Wednesday.
No,
next Tuesday.
I told my cousin, I was like, man, you going through a lot. I said, I understand how troublesome and how much work kids can be, which is why I don't have any.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, and yes, she let a fool take her to hell. I'm sure this could probably be turned into some Netflix miniseries or something about how she ended up in Atlanta with no way home. But
and that is my disconnect with today's generation. I don't know if I was just a scary cat, but I wouldn't go and hardly nowhere that I didn't have at least 5 people that I knew can get me out of a jam.
Right. Well,
now,
also
I made some crazy decisions, but I didn't do that.
But think about it, like you had to have more cash on you. You had to have a place to stay. You couldn't just show up somewhere and get a hotel room. Like you had to plan your trip.
You have to have a map, a physical map.
Yes. Because we weren't even really taking taxis like that back in the day. No. Taxis was for rich people. You had somebody come and get you from the airport. I don't think I went on a trip by myself until I came to Spelman.
I told you, 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
There was no Ubering. Somebody picked me up. I stayed on somebody's couch. Somebody took me around.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't do that. I mean, maybe one time, but I went with a group of people, and we got it that way. And there was my security because I was with people that I knew. But by myself, y'all, please.
But I think we planned things out better because people had landlines. Once they left the house, you weren't gonna be able to find them. So if your plane was running late, they were not gonna know that until you landed, right? And so we would watch the airport, like to make sure, checking the times, make sure everything was right. And you had your itinerary planned out way in advance. Now kids just be like, I'm going to get an Uber and I'm going to show up somewhere. And then they don't know how to maneuver in a city they've never been in,
Yeah, that's and I feel like I'm old when saying that. I just feel like that's just a survival skill that we just had. It's the social media war, man.
Mm-hmm. Everything looks great in the box they call the cell phone. Yeah, you got a good point. Yeah. There's one more thing. I told her I'd be there in 20 minutes, so I'll get her in a second. One more thing that you wanted to talk about, and that's about the employees in California.
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, not just California, but the judge in California rendered this ordering all the fired employees across several, like the Energy Department, the Agriculture Department, the Interior, they're all ordered back to work as a result of, this judge saying that these firings that the Doge and all these people led were pretty much unconstitutional and they had no merit for the most part. And I feel like what's actually happening now is, the leash is pretty much, they're reining it in. They're like, wait a minute, you've inflated these weird ass numbers all of a sudden that you're saying that he's cutting. It's like these numbers aren't even making sense. You know what it mirrors to me, Joy? I was thinking, remember when Tish James took it into court? This is Trump I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because he inflated all of his real estate worth just to get those loans. That's kind of what they did with the federal government. They inflated all of this quote unquote waste.
Yeah, none of it was waste. True. And most of the stuff that they've said that they've canceled, they're like, oh, well, we got rid of this, we got rid of that. And then you discover, no, you still had to pay that.
Yeah.
You canceled the contract, but the contract was a guarantee. You still got to pay the money. And now we're not getting the rest of the work. It's actually less efficient.
So I feel like his playbook just caught up to him. And so these people are ordered back to work. Now, how soon would they put it into force? I don't know, because I know they're going to be slow dragging their feet. But it was this particular order was specifically for probationary employees. People that were there within the first year. Because, like I said, my brother about a couple of weeks ago, he was actually ordered back to work as a result of them just bringing them back. Period. So, so I was really glad to see that. And it was a judge at the circuit here in California that actually made that ruling, and that was on today. So they're not winning.
They're not winning. Yeah. And there's a lot of people. What we are also seeing across the country as people lose these jobs at a federal level, but also as other people are realizing, I ain't got to live like this. You're seeing more and more people turn to other venues for income or for making ends meet. A lot more bartering is going on. A lot of people are getting roommates and cutting their rent in half. A lot of kids are still staying at home. They're 29. They're still at home with their parents. And the parents are coming to understand, you just stay in the basement. It doesn't make no sense to try to buy nothing right now. Some people are taking advantage of the downturn. Like I said, I'm hoping that the price of my condo stays flat, because if they can't build nothing else, I won't have any competition. In my place. It should become a buyer's market. I mean, it should become a seller's market pretty soon. But it's getting to the point where people are making their own little farms in their backyard, going vegetarian, because if you can grow all your own food, your grocery bill gets cut in half, and all you need is almond milk and olive oil, right?
I have a friend who says she's going to buy a cow. I'm not kidding you. She's actually going to buy a cow.
I'm not mad at it.
And she's going to buy a deep freezer to put all the shit in it.
You remember that all our grandparents had deep freezers?
We did. Still do.
Yeah, because my dad would go hunting, and it didn't dawn on me until recently. Deer meat was free. It did cost him maybe a couple $100 to go out there and go hunting for the day. But he would kill maybe 2 deer and come back with a deep freezer full of venison, and we would eat that all winter long.
Yes,
he fed his family, give or take, for a couple $100 over 3 or 4 months.
We would shell Purple Hull peas and eat those peas all winter.
Peas was delicious, yo.
Do you hear me? Purple Hull peas. All OnlyFans again. I don't know what I would want to showcase on my OnlyFans account.
You know what? If I was less modest and maybe more committed and in better shape, I would absolutely do that. If I wasn't already late to the game, there's too many people selling pictures of their feet already.
Yeah.
So
it's a saturated market. Yeah. No, but deep freezers were the thing back. My grandmother would actually make dressing on Thanksgiving and dressing for Christmas on Thanksgiving, and she would deep freeze it.
Yeah,
and just pull it out. Yeah, if I
find the right work partner. I know what you mean.
Okay, Sam.
All right, make sure you get the angles, but
and get the lighting right. Yeah,
deep freeze. A lot of my friends that have homes have a deep freezer in their garage. Not all of them, but it's coming back, especially if you're not going to get a farm or go hunting, then some of my friends that go fishing and catch a whole lot of fish and then put it all in a deep freeze. A
lot of things will keep when you freeze it. Bread will keep.
Milk will keep. Yeah. A lot of things, cheese, cream cheese, I know at least, but there's a lot of things you can put in a freezer. So when you catch that sale at Costco, Put all that shit. I was just at Costco. They had almond milk, buy one, get one. So I bought 2.
Wow.
I've been eating cereal because I don't have a deep freezer. But since I'm a single person, my freezer is basically my deep freeze, you know?
Yeah.
But I want to talk about one other thing, and then I really got to go get this girl from wherever she's at. And that is the fact that America,
oh my God,
is on a watch list.
We have rolled back so many rights for so many groups of people. We are now on the civil rights watch list.
Yes.
We
are now rated an unsafe place for tourism. And here's the thing. People don't realize we like to make fun of, maybe Japanese people that come to New York with all their cameras, or you'll see Italians at SeaWorld or whatever. Yo, Florida is about to hurt. It's going to hurt Disney to some extent too, because people travel to Disney on both coasts, right? Hawaii probably going to be all right, because people don't really associate Hawaii with being the actual state. But yes, ain't nobody going to Nebraska. Ain't nobody trying to visit. A lot of people that would come into the country for work are now just like, I'm not coming there. I could go work in the UK. I could go work in Ghana, as a matter of fact. It's picking up a lot of European transplants that want to be workers there. So, yeah.
California is still somewhat safe for now because, the liberality here, the freedoms that we still have in California, the people that we have watching out for us. But I don't know how long that's going to even last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're making history in all the wrong ways.
Yeah.
But Bob's got a point here. Just wait until unemployment is sky high and the economy is tanked and crime goes haywire. Yeah, so this is the inevitability that I've been planning for with my go bag and my filters that filter like rainwater just in case I need some fresh drinking water and we ain't got none, and my pistols and my shotgun and everything, because eventually people gonna lose their shit. Like my father used to say, this country is only a couple of hungry days away from total anarchy.
That's it.
And we are in hungry day 1. Like people about to really feel it. And what I didn't finish my thought from earlier about eventually this could turn out to be a reset for America. It sounds painless. Oh, well, this would be a great way to reset the country and start anew. That's from the ashes, though. Yeah. The phoenix rises from the ashes.
We have to burn all the way down before we can
all the way down to the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we are part of what will be ashes. Nobody alive right now is going to come through this era without feeling something. The same way McCarthyism had its drag on forever. The effects of it took a generation to mitigate, to dissipate. We still have the idea of Red Scare, even though our president is a Russian puppet.
Have we seen any numbers in tourism start to fall as of yet? Has that been
not
watched?
Yet?
Okay,
not yet, but I'm sure it will.
Well, I guess it hasn't really been travel season just yet because we are sort of still in winter.
Yeah, we'll see how it looks in May. That's when April and May is usually when Disney takes a turn up, because people come to visit and it's not too hot and all that kind of stuff. We'll see how it looks then. Anyway, so
I was hoping to end on a higher note, but damn.
Do I have anything to end on a higher note with? Probably not.
What can we say? Oh gosh, I didn't find. Well, I'm sure there was a funny video that I read across, but I can't think of it now.
Yeah, I had a couple things I didn't load up because honestly, I depend on Chuck for all of that. Not Chuck. I depend on
Mr. Cunningham
for all that. So yeah.
AWOL, bro.
I mean, he didn't show up. He didn't text. He didn't call, write nothing.
Nothing. I hope he all right.
So yes, Sam, we're gonna build it back up with a Black mindset, but not necessarily just a Black mindset, a community mindset.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to just be Black. I'm down with whoever wants my success. Because what we're not going to do is build it back and have all the other smaller demographic communities come and let us build it up and then try to jump into being white again like they've done before and abandon us when we need them most. You're going to have to you're not in this.
Yeah.
We're going to check yourself.
I just have some kind of hope that this pain is just going to be too severe for them to ever want to go back and take a chance again.
It has to be.
It has
to create generational trauma for them.
Yeah.
Where they always remember they should not trust anyone that looks like Trump.
You know what I'm saying? Listen to Black folk.
Listen to Black folk.
And Pete Buttigieg, please don't do what we're thinking you're going to do. Have you heard that? He's not running for the. Well, he's not running for Senate. People are wanting him to run for Senate, and he said this week that he's not going to run for Senate. So it's raising speculation that he's going to mount a presidential run. And I just don't know just right now about that. I'm not feeling it right now. Maybe later, but right now I'm not. But that's for another day. We can chat about that one.
Oh, she just her phone is dying again. She's like, my phone is dying. I got pink Crocs on.
We love you, Sharpies.
Yes, I gotta run and find my niece. So love y'all. And we will be back next week. Hopefully Tom will be here to kind of run rain on everything and run the boards. Guys. But thank you all for coming out. God bless and good night.
Bye guys.
Whoops, that didn't work.